When someone talks about coercive control, I want to listen. I want to find out what they have to say, how relevant it is, and whether or not they understand the concept. So I was most interested when Susan Ley decided that she was going to put up a video on TikTok, I think it must be. It appeared on X, but nevertheless, she put up this video around coercive control. Now, I don't disagree with anything that Lee says here about coercive control. In fact, I celebrate the notion that she's done something by at least putting up a video to support women who experience some terrible, terrible behaviours from men. And we need to highlight the fact that coercive control is something that is kind of new, I guess, in the area of family and domestic violence, but certainly has been there for hundreds of years. But here she is talking about it. And I was interested in her talking about it because when you study Susan Ley, you notice that there's many things she does which are about coercive control. Now, I have been a keen student of Question Time, and there's something that I dislike intensely about Susan Ley, and some of it is about name-calling, calling people liars, particularly the Prime Minister, being aggressive in the way that she goes about addressing issues, standing up and challenging the Speaker about the things that she says. The fact that she's got kicked out of Parliament last week twice indicates to us what sort of a crazy woman this is and how she doesn't abide by the system itself, and she's pushing boundaries all the time. Everything that I've just highlighted is what coercive control is about. And a part of coercive control is gaslighting. And Susan Ley is the best gaslighter you can imagine, where she'll spin a story, try and make the other side feel as if they're responsible for something that she or her party have done. Now, I find her behaviour generally, as you've probably already figured, pretty disgusting, and it needs to be addressed. But when she delivers something on a subject which I think is fabulous because it needs to be addressed, but I think there's a great deal of hypocrisy given that it comes from her. So I'm going to play that clip for you, and given what I've just said, given what you might know about Susan Ley, I want you to make your assessment on this particular clip.
I want to share some thoughts with you and some resources and fact sheets about coercive control. Coercive control, often silent and isolating, is a non-physical form of domestic violence, but can quickly escalate to physical violence. So far this year, over a dozen women have been killed, mostly from domestic violence. These are not just statistics, they are someone's mother, close friend, daughter, grandmother. Please take the time to read and share these resources, fact sheets attached to this post that may help you or someone close to you. And please always seek help when you need to.
Wow, thank you, Susan. What an inspiration this woman is, telling us how we should be controlling and living in our environments where someone is endeavouring to control us, particularly in family violence and domestic violence situations. Because if you're going to have these sorts of conversations, I think you need to make sure that in your own life, particularly your public life, but certainly in your own life, you need to be abiding by some of the key principles, which is respect for others and to acknowledge that there are times you may say something to some people that may be harmful. And one of the most important things around the domestic violence issue is that if someone says something, or any sort of conflict, if someone says something that is offensive and you find it offensive and you tell that person that you're offended, then then the other person, the person that has offended you, needs to take that on board. Sometimes we say and we do things that perhaps we don't mean to be offensive, but we also don't know the other person's circumstances, and we can inadvertently say something that offends the other person. I think but with Susan and a lot of people, not just on her side of politics, I'm not having to go there, it happens on both sides, but they say things that they know are designed to harm the other person. In essence, that is domestic and family violence. And to talk about it in the way that she does, which is a good thing that she's talking about it, I'm not disputing that. I am disputing the fact that this woman is unlikely to abide by the very principles that she's now discussing, because she doesn't demonstrate any of these things about coercive control in her day-to-day activities as deputy leader of the Liberal Party. And so she needs to get her act together and start to express things that she's talking about, which are great, and she's encouraging women to go out and get some help, which they should be doing, but she's demonstrated herself that she has got no freaking clue as to what she's talking about, because it doesn't appear to be apparent to her in terms of the way she responds and reacts to other people. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and let me know what you think about this response that she's made, whether you think it's appropriate or not, and what views do you have on Susan Ley. Thanks for everybody for joining me. Take care, look after yourselves, and more importantly, be safe.